DC Studios seems to be going through a rough patch lately. They lost Henry Cavill as Superman, and the release of the new Flash movie doesn't look too promising given Ezra Miller's series of recent controversies. Quick to join the list of troublesome characters was the Shazam star Zachary Levi. As if the anti-vax comment weren't enough, Zach went on to show support for the blatantly unapologetic and controversial psychologist Jordan Peterson. What exactly went down? Stick around and find out. Do you ever see a tweet and wonder how hard it is to just keep your mouth shut? Well, fans had somewhat similar remarks on the 42-year-old Zachary Levi openly sharing his anti-vax opinions through Twitter. What exactly happened? A tweet was making rounds on Twitter, collecting people's take on the pointless sentiment of the Pfizer vaccine being a real danger to the world. Zachary Levi responded to the tweet with, "Hardcore agree." Hardcore? Are you for real, Zach? This was obviously understood to be an anti-vax comment, and the fans weren't really giving in to the Shazam magic at this point. But did Levi stop here? No, sir. Following up on his questionable anti-Pfizer statement, Levi tweeted, "Just one example of what I'm referring to," along with a link to a Justice Department press release on Pfizer's multi-billion-dollar settlement for marketing fraud. He published a video of himself speaking on a podcast earlier this month to Instagram, criticizing the low or non-existent regulations in the US regarding all pharmaceutical advertising. He hasn't made any overt statements opposing vaccinations, but as of this writing, he hasn't either stated that he supports vaccinations either. But the controversy didn't cut it for Zach, so he decided to dive into some more. Zachary Levi showed up as a guest for Joe Rogan's podcast number 1845, and a few clips from this podcast made rounds throughout the internet. And no, not for the right reasons. This time, the backlash came from Levi's acknowledgement and praise for the highly controversial pseudo-intellectual Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson is a Canadian psychologist and author. Some will claim he is the second coming of Christ, while others will claim he is a transphobic spokesperson of the right wing. His involvement in the debate began when he opposed Bill C-16, a proposed law in Canada that would have made it criminal to avoid using the chosen pronouns of transgender individuals. After this, he was branded as transphobic, despite his repeated claims of the situation being a case of right to free speech instead of trans hate. But we are not too sure about that. Peterson was suspended from Twitter later, following his transphobic tweets towards Elliot Page, a transgender actor. The Shazam actor Zachary Levi freely acknowledged the cultural commentator in a podcast with Joe Rogan. Despite Peterson's transphobic remarks about Elliot Page, Levi expressed his support for the divisive individual and his way of thought. Levi termed Peterson as one of the deepest thinkers that he has come across when it comes to breaking down human behavior. Levi said the Canadian intellectual is someone he could trust regarding these issues, and considers him a man of great wisdom and integrity. Word, Zach. Watch him. Zach did recognize the ongoing controversy that surrounds Jordan Peterson, but the internet had taken its message. The UFC commentator Joe Rogan misidentified Elliot Page in the podcast when he brought up Jordan Peterson's transphobia as well. In fact, that is one of the primary reasons Jordan Peterson got banned too. Dead naming, as trans people refer to it, is when you refuse to call trans people by their actual gender-based names. Jordan Peterson got banned from Twitter for dead naming, but scoffed at it and proceeded to refer to Elliot Page as Ellen Page. As you can see, not the right thing to do in today's internet culture. Joe Rogan did realize his mistake and corrected it right away too, but Levi remained silent, infuriating the audience. Zachary Levi has received a lot of negative feedback from fans since sharing his controversial thoughts. Additionally, the Shazam actor has been under fire from fans for not correcting Joe Rogan on the podcast after he dead-named Page when discussing Peterson's transphobia as well. Fans are outraged that the actor has no difficulty siding with transphobes, despite the fact that Levi's position on transgender rights is ambiguous. Oh, and DC Studios is not going to like the sound of any of this. DC is already having a tough time reinventing their cinematic universe after a series of horribly rated movies and failed attempts to revive insignificant characters. Shazam! Fury of the Gods is up for release on 17th March 2023. As a matter of fact, this is the first film on DC's 2023 release schedule, and it stars Levi in the lead role. So, clearly being a center of controversy at this time might not be the best thing for Zach and DC Studios both. Levi is not the only Hollywood star to receive criticism for siding with Jordan Peterson, though. Just a couple of months back, the Sons of Anarchy star Charlie Hunnam was found in the same spot as well. While on a press tour for his new movie Triple Frontier, Hunnam decided to speak a few good words about the apparently profound thinker Jordan Peterson. His views came out of the blue as well, as he was simply asked about his experience working with an actual SEAL trainer. While he mentioned how much he loved the seriousness of working with such professionals, he suddenly flipped the conversation towards Peterson, as he also does not believe in the triviality of life. What? We're guessing he aimed to compare the mentalities of the Special Forces professionals to that of Jordan Peterson's. The mentality being the concept of taking one's life seriously, taking responsibility, and being held accountable. Well, that doesn't sound too bad now, does it? Hunnam did it wrong, though. He said all this without addressing all the negative air around Peterson's name, and the fans obviously were not impressed. Fans rushed to Twitter, labeling the whole ordeal as a betrayal and not a good look for Hunnam. Should have seen that coming, Hunnam. But that is not the worst of Peterson's celebrity controversies, though. Olivia Wilde has just come out with her second film as a director, titled Don't Worry Darling. In the film, Florence Pugh plays a 1950s housewife who gradually learns that something is seriously wrong with her idyllic suburban life, including her marriage and the looming presence of Frank, a frightening character played by Pine. And according to Wilde, Pine's psychopathic role in the movie is inspired by Jordan Peterson. She also went on to call Peterson an insane pseudo-intellectual and a hero to the incel community. Whoa, that is some major trash talk. Peterson responded to Wilde's take on him with tears in his eyes during an interview with Piers Morgan. Sure, why not, said Peterson to being called the hero to the incel community, stating that he only aims to be a voice for the marginalized group of socially incapable young men. After the teary response, Peterson appeared confident with what he stood for, calling Wilde's comments some low-level insults. Clapback? We don't think so. Peterson stated that he plans on watching the movie now that it has been brought to his attention. He thinks that Chris Pine is a charming choice to play him in a movie, and he hoped Pine gets his wardrobe right for the movie, according to Peterson's picky formal attire. What are your opinions on Jordan Peterson? Say it out loud at your own risk, though. Are you still excited for Shazam! Fury of the Gods? Let us know, and we will see you around.